Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? So we have had the conversation here, as many people have over the past several weeks, since we learned that Michael Thomas put off surgery, had it in June, and was going to miss the start of this NFL season. And then after we learned that he had put off surgery, we learned how displeased the Saints were when the Saints reported for camp. Remember what Mickey Loomis said the day before the Saints opened up training camp?
He came back. He played in the last two postseason games, Still had a few issues after the season. Look, it was decided that he was going to treat that conservatively, and I think we all had an expectation that that would heal and he'd be fine coming into camp this year. But we get to the mini camp, and obviously it wasn't quite right, and so we had to make a call and collectively made the call to have the surgery in June. Look, obviously, if we would have preferred that surgery to be earlier in February or March, but it wasn't. Hopefully he's had a good result so far, and hopefully we'll get him back sooner rather than later.
Obviously, we wish the surgery would be done in February. Sean Payton also none too pleased with the way it transpired.
Well, look, it appears we're going to have to spend some time without him. It's disappointing, and we'll work through it with the other players that are here. But the surgery took place, and obviously, we would have liked that to have happened earlier than later. And quite honestly, it should have.
So apparently it was that comment that really got to Michael Thomas. And then we know what happened. Michael Thomas took to social media, and his tweet is what threw a lot of people off and really upset a lot of people within the Saints organization when he tweeted, "They tried to damage your reputation. You saved theirs by not telling your side of the story." My feeling when I saw that, you all know, was, look, I've seen Sean Payton since 2006. I know how much he values locker room culture. I know what Sean's going to do. They're going to move Mike Thomas out of town. And a lot of people shared that sentiment. We've talked about it a good bit. We talked about even trade possibilities. Well, Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports is reporting, citing sources close to the situation, that Sean Payton and Michael Thomas have spoken, and they are not seeking a split, that they're trying to reconcile to work on this situation and to get Mike Thomas back. Now, I want to be clear. My opinion, what was going to happen was that Sean Payton was going to shop Michael Thomas. That's what I thought would happen. What I wanted to happen, which I said on Monday and I've said all along, is I want them to heal. I want Michael Thomas's ankle to heal, and I want them to heal this relationship so that way he's back in New Orleans. He's literally the greatest receiver the Saints have ever had in their organization, and at a time when you're moving on from Drew Brees and you're working in a new quarterback, yes, I want one of the best receivers in the NFL with amazing hands and amazing catch radius to be that security blanket for the new quarterback, for Jameis Winston. So, yeah, I'm very, very glad to hear this news. Here's some of the quotes. Again, quotes attributed to anonymous sources close to this situation. Quote, "They had a good talk about the issues. I think they both believe it's not anything that has to go any further than what is already out there. There was some frustration from both viewpoints, and that was the point of the meeting," end quote. A second source added, quote, "I think and hope they work things out," end quote. What was maybe the most interesting part of this is that the guys at Yahoo took the time to go seek out 3 different NFL GMs. Now, they're unnamed, but asked 3 different NFL GMs what they felt Mike Thomas's value would be in a trade right now. And this might very well be the reason. Now remember, in a trade, you just need one partner. You need one partner to see the value and make a deal that's worthwhile. But this might be the thing that led the Saints to say, all right, let's keep him. Because they very well could have made do with that cap number, which, look, if they trade Mike Thomas, which I guess is still a possibility but doesn't seem likely at this point, it'd have been $10 million dead money this year, which means it counts against the cap even though he's not on the roster, and next year would have been $22 million. That's a massive number for a guy not to be on the roster. For perspective, the Eagles just ate the largest dead cap number in history with Carson Wentz. He counts $32 million against the cap this year. That's a huge number for a guy to not be on your team, especially when it's someone transcendent like Michael Thomas when he's healthy. But 3 GMs spoke about Thomas's trade value. One said that the last 12 months, the injury, the fight with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, what's going on now with the ghosting the Saints over these phone calls, over the surgery, that it has reduced dramatically his value. One GM said if Mike Thomas were healthy, his value would be a 1 and a 3, a first and a third. 2 others said it's significantly depressed because of the contract, the suspension, the social media drama, all that's the rehab, meaning Mike Thomas's value would be a 2 and a 3. That's major. If you were going to ship out an all-pro wide receiver and only get a second and third round pick in return, if you're the Saints, you look at it and you say, that's really not worth it. When the Saints traded Brandon Cooks, getting a first-round pick for Brandon Cooks, they sent Cooks in a late-round pick in exchange for a 1. And that 1 turned into Ryan Ramczyk. That worked out nicely. And Cooks was your leading receiver, but was not an all-pro at the time. When you shipped out Jimmy Graham, you got a high draft pick, and you got a starting caliber player in Max Unger. You got Unger in a 1. Maybe it was Unger in a 2. Maybe it was the 1 which they used to draft Stephon Anthony. I think that might have been the pick, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing it off the top of my head. But anyway, the point is you got a high draft pick and a starting caliber player for Jimmy Graham, who was an all-pro. Like, that's what you would think in the neighborhood of Michael Thomas, not a 2 and a 3. So if the Saints were actually maybe making phone calls in the last few days to say, what would you give us for Mike Thomas? And that's the feedback they're getting. Maybe they look and say, look, it's better if we just reconcile here. Let's see if we can make this thing work because we're better with him than without him. So as one source said to Yahoo, quote, it would make more sense to just ride it out, at least until he's back on the field. If it's not going to work after that, at least you know what he can do on the field. It takes some of the risk out of an evaluation. So I am relieved to see that. I want Mike Thomas back. I want him to play maybe not his entire career in New Orleans because, as we've seen, it's rare that anybody plays their entire career in one place. Look at Tom Brady in Tampa, and you know the list. It's just rare that guys, even great players, finish their career in one spot. But I would love for him to play his best prime years in New Orleans for the team that drafted him, that gave him a $96 million contract. I want that because I think the Saints are obviously better with Michael Thomas, and they've never had a player of that caliber at that position. So, yes, I want Mike Thomas back. I also look at this and I say keeping Michael Thomas on your team is going to set you up better for short and long-term success because you're not going to have the awful cap hit, and he's going to make you better now, this year, whenever he returns, and next year, and for the foreseeable future while he's on this roster. Whereas if you had traded Michael Thomas, again, which may still happen, you're likely going to acquire picks for him, and those are lottery tickets. You're taking a chance and hoping that you hit on that player that you get for the lottery ticket. And when do you actually get something to materialize out of that? It's not to say it can't work. It's just 2 different paths to take. And I like this. I like the certainty of a player like Michael Thomas on the roster. So for whatever reason the Saints came to this decision, it appears as though Michael Thomas, Sean Payton have spoken. They're working on reconciling, getting him back on the field, and playing in the black and gold. And I, for one, am relieved to see that. I know some of you are going to say he's a diva, he's a prima donna, he's nothing but trouble, run him out of town. My retort would be, if they knew he was trouble, why would they have given him a $96 million contract? This guy's been in the organization his entire career. They feel like they know him. They feel like this is out of character. Hopefully they learn from it, they move on from it, they're all better for it.